Hello and welcome to this opposition preview for the Scarf Bagara War with me, Russ Johnson. I'm delighted to be joined by Brad from the Seasiders podcast, Blackpool FC. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thanks for having me on. It's a privilege to be able to talk about the upcoming game that's coming on Saturday.
No worries. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's rewind though first to the start of the season. Second game in, we came to Bloomfield Road, the newly revamped Bloomfield Road, as far as we're concerned, because we've not been there since the 2000s, 2000, yeah, the 2000s, I guess we'll call it.
Yes, right.
Yeah. How has it gone since then? Because that was the game that Neil Critchley, he was sacked after that. You brought Steve Bruce in. How has it gone since then?
It's been quite a roller coaster, to be fair. By the way, you shocked us when you beat us at our home turf. Normally, our home form was normally at the best, and we definitely last season we certainly rided on the back of the home form quite a lot to keep us in contention in the playoffs. We had a bit of turmoil with Neil Critchley. Tried to recruit players, didn't do as well as we had hoped. To be fair, there was not a lot of transfer market in there for us, and we missed out on quite a lot of opportunities. But I think looking back now, that the tactics were all wrong. You know, the players were playing in illegitimate places. Basically, you've got people that were meant to be in right wing, they were going up front. You had defensive midfielders, they were playing more of an attacking midfield role, and it just didn't gel together. And credit to yourselves, you did expose us quite quickly in the game, and politely saying you battered us, to be fair. And that actually started us to guess Neil Critchley, to think, is he the manager to go forward for us? So thanks to yourselves, you gave us the catalyst to question him quite a fair bit.
You're welcome. Yeah, because I remember the game. I was in that away end. It was absolutely limbs when Barry scored the first goal. I'm going to say I'd not had too much to drink at that point, and so I'm quite surprised I don't remember it. But what I do remember is there was a penalty shout early on in the game as well for you, and I thought my heart was in my mouth because I thought he's going to give that, but he didn't, and then we obviously took the game on then and went on to win.
To be fair, that was a penalty. I wasn't going to bring it up, but that was when you're sitting in the stands and you're looking and go, hang on a minute, ref, what? Like, if you're looking in the naked eye, that was a stonewall penalty. But I've been saying this on the pod this season, and it's on all tiers at the moment. I think referees need a lot of support at the moment because I think they're getting a lot of the decisions wrong. I don't think education's the issue, but I think they don't trust their initial instinct. As they should do, really, because we had it against Wrexham at Boxing Day. We were meant to have a stonewall penalty, didn't happen, and that changed the course of the game. And I think relaying that to your game that we last encountered each other, that was a big turning point for us, because us as fans didn't feel as though that it was going to go our way. There was a lot of decisions at that night where it did go your way, and you had the rub of the green. I just think that the ref, personally, for me, had a bit of a mare, to be fair, but it's only an opinion. But obviously, if you're saying as well that the penalty should have been given, then I think that could have changed the course of the game. But yeah, fair play to yourselves. You got Louis Barry cooking. Yeah, I have to say, he was. I had to compliment him. You accept a loss, don't you? When you've not played well, you just accept the other team's been the better team. The scoreline reflects that. Could it have been a goal? Yeah. I think you would have got back in the game, to be fair. We just didn't have any answers, and we're not at the moment, and we'll probably discuss about this in terms of our weakness and what we're scared that you're going to do to us. We normally are a one-half wonder. We either do very well in the first half or we do very well in the second, and we turn it up the notch. But the way Louis was playing, and he just dissected our midfield and our defence just couldn't do anything about it, and we've actually had quite a solid defence this season. So for you to pick that out was unbelievable, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good match from our perspective. I thought it was a penalty. I did in real time, but I think we dissected it on our podcast afterwards, and I think somebody slowed it down as well. I think someone was that sad, and it turned out, I think the referee got the right decision in the end. But that's all water under the bridge now. So what's been the expectation? Well, pre-season then, just very quickly, what was the expectation at the start of the season for this season? Was it playoffs or autos?
we was expecting playoffs. We was only a point or two away from the playoffs last season. We knew it was going to be a challenge this season. We had, yourselves. We've had Wrexham that come up in the promotion from last season, and it was a competitive league too last season. I keeping an eye on it. You looked at our league table, and we were seeing what we were doing. We were thinking, we were secretly hoping, hope we get in the playoffs and we can get promoted, because next season is going to be a real tough one. Normally we say that the Championship's the hardest league. That I honestly believe the League One this season is the hardest league to get out of at the moment. So when we were discussing, right, okay, well, you've got Huddersfield that's come down, you've got Birmingham that's come down, we've got the Hollywood interaction, in full swing in League One. As you can see, I'm a New England Patriots fan. I wasn't exactly happy when Tom Brady bought Birmingham, to be honest with you. So looking into it, we had a little bit of, we was a bit anxious. We said to ourselves, if we have a strong transfer window, we lost a lot of loans last season. We lost a lot of players that we sold on. So we would have hoped that, Simon Sadler, our owner, would actually invest in the squad and be able to develop it. Don't think Neil Critchley exactly used that philosophy, in all fairness. So we didn't really do anything in the summer. So that kind of dampened our hopes a little bit. Then then Neil Critchley got sacked, and then they appointed Steve Bruce. And me, having Villa fans around me, they all turned around and said to me, "What, you've just had Steve Bruce? Like, at West Bromwich, he's been shocking at Aston Villa, he's been at Hull, yeah, he's done well at the Blues and all that. But really, is he? You already had Mick McCarthy. What's going on? Are you trying to get another dinosaur into the club?" So I was a bit on the fence, but then I turned around and said, "Well, we couldn't be as bad as Neil Critchley." So we literally opened up to him and wanted to see what he was trying to do. But in all fairness, he got the team playing. We had a nice little winning streak going, and we were looking at each other going, "Hang on a minute, he's not brought any players in because he didn't have the transfer window to be able to go and do that." But literally, all of a sudden, we had that belief. The fans believed he got a philosophy. At the time, we felt as though that the owner was backing him quite a lot, which is really good. But yeah, we literally had a really good streak. But then injuries took its toll on us. We had, even though we had a big squad, because we downsized quite a lot in January, we had 8 players leave us, and we only brought 3 in for ourselves. We found that, we had Apter on the right, and I'll discuss a little bit later on in the pod, the strengths that we have that you've got to watch out for. It's we lost a few players, we had injuries, and then the players that were coming on for the subs bench, they didn't make an impact. So we only had the first 11, which was, a top tier League One side, and he kind of dropped off quite a bit, and we became very inconsistent. So we kind of patched it up until we got to the January window. And then we had the injuries were coming back. For example, CJ Hamilton, if he plays and he goes in the starting lineup, he's detrimental at the right hand side. He's one of those players that we need him in the squad to be able to provide and feed up to the midfield. He's that much of a good player. So looking into that, going into the January window, we were quite pleased when they were getting the dead wood out, if you will. We had 8. Some went to Wigan, some went to League Two. Jordan Rhodes, he left. He wasn't getting the minutes, and he wasn't quite the player that we hoped he would be this season for us. Because last season, without him, we wouldn't have been competing near the playoffs or anything like that at all. So we signed 3 players. One of the star players was Bloxham from Shrewsbury. I don't know. I didn't see your match when you played against Shrewsbury, but he absolutely annihilated us in the middle, and he can play in all positions in striker. His preferred positions in right wing, but he can play centre forward. He can go to the left. He can play anywhere really. He just wants to play. And we had a bounce in January. To be fair, we had a nice bounce, but unfortunately, he's picked up an injury and he's out for 6 weeks. So you not be playing him on Saturday, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, moving on to that, I was going to ask you about the January window, but you've answered that quite eloquently. So cheers for that. But yeah, so moving into Saturday, are you bringing that that good vibe, if you like, into Saturday's match? Because we just spoke off air, didn't we? That you think you're 16 on, I want to say one defeat in 16, but most of those are draws. Is that right?
That they are mostly draws. Yeah, we beat Crawley quite convincingly in the last match. It was a really good match. To be fair, it's not something I expected from Blackpool. I'm going to be brutally honest. I on my last pod with John, I literally wasn't very happy with the mentality of the players towards the end of the game. It feels like you're the big bad wolf and you're trying to blow the house down, and there was just nothing coming out of it. So we were just settling for draws. And for us to get that win, it has given us a massive boost. And I think we really did need that, because our home form has been absolutely shocking. It's been our first win since November, since we won at home, because our away form has been absolutely fantastic. We took a draw against Birmingham. We took a draw against Rex. Well, that'll be a different debate for a different day. But I could talk about Wrexham and I could absolutely slate them, because I can't stand them, to be fair. But
you're in the right place.
yeah, definitely. We could probably talk about that quite a lot. Literally, yeah. But no, talking more about the game, I'm feeling optimistic. However, to complement your side, you're a strong side to compete against. I'm a bit anxious about it. I don't know what sort of side we're going to be putting out. If we'll talk about squad formations, but if we're going to have CJ on the right and we have Apter on the right as well, that's an attacking side for us. We tend to go that way quite a lot. If Evans is on his game, I know, even though we're unbeaten, which is absolutely fantastic at the moment, I know we're one of three in the EFL at the moment that's currently unbeaten in 2025, which I'll take all day long. But in League One, you've got to get wins. You'd rather lose one game and then win three than draw every single game, because it just doesn't work. So for us at the moment, it's one of them that if we turn up and we press and we do quite well, we tend to do well when we have pressure as well. So if you're going to be pressuring us, we will get you on the counter. If you park up on the bus, then we're not going to find a way to be able to intercept you and try and create that play to try and get the chances. So I'm kind of hoping that you're going to go on the front foot, and with the players that you've got, especially from the January window, that you do press us so that we can be able to get on the right hand side, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's probably as predictable as the sun coming up that will come at you on Saturday, early doors as well from the off. So I think that's I think we can guarantee that. Just talk about some of the other players. I know you've mentioned CJ Hamilton, Kyle Joseph, 8 goals, 3 assists. Is he one we should be looking out for as well?
Unfortunately, we lost him to Hull City in the January window.
Oh, good news for us then.
That's really good news. Absolute grafter, gutted that he went, but the club got an absolute steal out of Hull. The speculation is 1 million, 2 million, but I believe it was 2.6 million plus add-ons. Wow. For a League One player, unfortunately, even I would have packed his bags for him, and he loved the club. He wanted to continue. This is why I was referring to with Brucey. He's created a philosophy where the players want to play for him. When you've got the backing of the squad, they'll overachieve and they'll go above and beyond whatever attributes that they've got. And he was one of those players that absolutely adored Brucey, wanted to play week in, week out. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears for the club, and that's all what you want from a player who's playing for your club. We make the effort to come and see the games. We just want the same effort and desire and reciprocated, and he did that. And initially, we had an initial bid. Club turned it down. Literally, Hull kept coming back, and it got to the point where, reportedly, I quote, his wages tripled. Now, if any of our jobs we had money where it was tripled, we would go and do. Where am I going? Where do I pack my bags? Where's the taxi? I'll go now. So obviously, he's thought about the club. We've had that income that's come in. We've made some very good business, as I refer, with getting Bloxham, to sell a player for nearly 3 million and pay reportedly 700k for Bloxham plus whatever the club's decided to do. Was good business for us in January. Would we have liked a few more players? 100%. At the moment, we've got a very small squad, so we tactically, Brucey can only do so much. So in terms of Joseph, I think if Joseph was in the squad, if he was still with us, he would have been definitely a problem. I think it's a difficult one. It depends on what lineup we have with Blackpool, because at the moment there's two ways. We did change the formation a few games ago, and it went disastrously wrong for us. We just got outplayed completely, and Brucey had to change it quite quickly. Ashley Fletcher, he's actually improved. I think he's another person you've got to look out for. His 4-match ban has been rescinded, which quite deservedly, because he got sent off against Crawley. Wasn't a red card in my opinion. I think it was very harsh from the ref, and I think he was eating a hot dog in the stand, if I'm perfectly honest with you, because I don't think he paid attention from where he was positioned. And he's grown in confidence. He was a bit of a slow burner at the start of the season. He's one of our highest paid players at the moment, and we were scratching our heads on the pod thinking, he's who is this guy? At the moment, his haircut is sharper than his ability at the moment. What's going on? I don't quite understand. And his boots are always clean. How's that? Come on, let's get a bit of grit about you. Since Bloxham's arrived and before his injury, Fletcher came out of his shell really, really well, and it was really pleasing to see, because we felt as though that it was literally confidence. He didn't have he was getting the game time, but his effort is 10 out of 10. He just didn't get the finished product. But scoring at Shrewsbury, building that momentum for himself. He's now got the support network where Apter will cut in on the right, and Ashley Fletcher, because of his height, he'll be there lurking in the box. He's not scared to tap it in, your defenders have got to be on the A game, because they're going to have to mark him really, really well, because he does slip through the net. He does, put your players off guard quite a fair bit. His top right hand corner tends to be his favourite position at the moment, so he'll like to slot it in there. So if your goalkeeper's watching, then you need to take note with that. Secretly goes left. But
I'll let him know.
Yeah, let him know. But yeah, so we've got Fletcher on the front, and we've got Raptor on the right. To be fair, midfield, we've got defence really. I think you're going to find it very difficult to break our defence down. We've got Jimmy Husbands, who's our captain. He's consistent. You will not break him down on your right, my left. I think he'll just keep going and going. You'll try and go in the centre, where we've got. I always get the names mixed up, because I got into trouble on the pod last time. So we've got Carey and we've got Casey. So I'm going to say Casey, because he's the defensive player is the better one. The front is the weakest thing, which I'll refer to as one of the negatives. Casey in the defence is absolutely, he's been our strongest player. He's relentless. He will defend. So if you're going to be going on that front foot straight away at the first whistle, he's going to be there, and it's going to be very difficult for you to break him down. He has got that partnership with Baggett as well, and it works really, really well. So if they are in the starting lineup, that is going to be difficult. But then you've got CJ that could potentially go on the right, and our defence has been very, very solid, and that's where it speaks for itself why we've been unbeaten this year, or lost in 16. So it's been one of them scenarios where it's been our front that's been the issue. Our strike, we're not getting enough goals. So if your defence hold us down, Carey, for example, isn't the brightest spark in the box. I would say he's our weakest link. It depends what sort of game he's having. And hopefully he has a good game on Saturday, but I'm not very confident with him. I'm one of them where the jury's out. I don't rate him. I'd rather him go in the summer. But overall, if that squad is fit and it can withstand the pressure, I'd be settling with a draw, but I reckon we would be able to get the win, to be fair.
I mean, you do sound confident, and rightly so, really, because you are, like we said a few times, one defeat in 16. Sounds like you're hard to break down. It sounds like that from the outside looking in. Steve Bruce is making you hard to beat in terms of that defensive play, and it almost feels like probably trying to spring load you for a good go at it next season. With maybe another window under his belt.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, he's pals with the sporting director. We had a Q&A the other night, and I was watching a good portion of it. I'm still yet to finish, because it's an hour long, highlights of just Q&A of people asking the questions of right. And one lad, he sounded like a kid. I'm guessing he was a teenager. He literally said to Brucey, he said, if we don't get into the playoffs this season, what are you going to do in the squad for next season, and what are you going to establish to achieve? And Brucey was like, that was a fantastic question. Yeah, well, of course, if it doesn't work out this season, then we will assess. We will see the attributes of the players, and then we will restock. I've had assurances that we will restock for the summer, get the business in early, and to be able to push on next season. So for me, we're 9 points off the playoffs. I think had we turned those draws into wins, and there was certainly opportunity where those wins could have been, really have happened.
Yeah.
If we were 6 points away, then I'd be fancying it, because us as a club, as you, I don't know if you probably know, but we're the most successful team in the playoffs. We have got the
All
most
right.
wins. We have contributed to the playoffs quite a lot. We're the most team that's gone to the playoffs. So we know what we do quite well, and the fans know how to react, how to prepare themselves, because it can be a bit of a roller coaster. I know that you're in the playoff contention at the moment, so it is a roller coaster. Do you know what I mean? Especially in
Yeah.
League One to the Championship, because how much you're riding on it. Me personally, I think the season's written off. Personally, there's too many clubs in front of us. Like yourselves, you've got Huddersfield, you've got the shite that's Wrexham, and they are shite. I'd never had so much satisfaction rooting for Peterborough. I never thought I'd say that on a podcast, that I was physically rooting for Peterborough after they beat us at the semi for the Virtue Trophy. I enjoyed it when it came to penalties, and I savoured that. I enjoyed that very, very much. But yeah, very much. I can waffle on for a long time, believe me. But no, I do think the season written off, unless we go on some miraculous winning streak and all the results come in our favour. I know the season is not written off yet, but the way we're currently positioned at the moment, Steve said in the Q&A, he got rid of 8 players for a reason. He's got the players that he wants. He rather has quality than quantity, because the quantity isn't reflecting on the pitch. He's not
Yeah.
making an impact. So I think he's very much aware that he's writing this season off, just trying different tactics and seeing what works, see what doesn't. We've got quite a lot of lone players, especially in the defensive. We've got Tyra, who's our goalkeeper. He'll be gone at the end of the season. He's not been consistent as we like, but with any young keeper, you take that. We lost Grimshaw, so we lost a keeper. He was continuous for us. He was there day in, day out. So I'm more looking forward to next season to see what we do in the off season, to be able to get to sign the players that we need, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Before I ask you for a score prediction, then just wanted to ask you about what your thoughts on County, and what you've seen in terms of our rise. Obviously, we played each other a lot back in the day. I don't know if you remember it, certainly from the late 2000s, earlier than that. Bloomfield Road is actually the third ground that I've been to the most. So Edgeley Park is first, Boundary Park second, then Bloomfield Road. I'm that old. So yeah, just a question really. What do you think of our rise? What do you know about us now that we're coming? Now that we're back?
That's a good question. I would probably say you came to my radar when it came to the documentary with Wrexham, where obviously originally Wrexham had Notts County, but you're the right county, in my honest opinion. All right, keep it local. Literally, and with their documentary, they mentioned you quite a lot, and you were competing, and your rise from it, you've got the right foundations. You've got an owner that cares, that's invested, and when I say invested, he's not wasted his money. He's made every single pound work for himself. And your manager has been absolutely phenomenal. He's worked wonders. He's got a group of players going, and to get out of League Two the way you have done, and to excel into League One, like when you beat us, I was like, I knew they were good in League Two. I didn't know they were that good in League One, and I can probably relate that to a lot of the people that are looking outside in, if you will. So, but no, I'd say that, look, when you compare to yourself, I'm guessing you've got a little bit of funds, but you've not got the money like the Hollywood pimps have got. Where they've managed to put the money in. You've worked, you've grinded, you've had to graft, and you've done really, really well. And that's huge respect and admiration. I wish we had the foundation at the moment that we could do that and try and push to get into the championship. But at the moment, as us as a club, we're not quite there. But you've got it all to play for. It's like you're playing with no fear. It's as if you're already winning, and at the moment, the roller coaster, the ride's not stopping. The roller coaster's still going up. There's no come down for you guys at the moment, and you're savouring it. And I have to admit, I've been there when we've gone for a run, and back in 07 when we did the Magnificent 10, we really did go at it. And 2010 when we got into the Premier League, those sort of highs stay with you for the rest of your life. And at the moment, you are certainly going for that rise. And I was too young to witness in 2000. So I was only 7 when 2000 came about. But I do remember us having 2 stands, and we had a shed as an away end. So I remember that quite well. So when it comes to long league, I wasn't privy to it until recently. To be fair, when we've got Kidderminster Harriers from a few seasons ago that was in the National League, so we there was a lot of reporting in that. So that kind of started us looking at the non-league a little bit, to be fair. And your Solihull Moors and all that.
Yeah, well, we know all about them. No, it's fair comment. I think we have gone under the radar, but just to sort of let you know, we have got a big investor who's arguably got more deeper pockets than the 2 that are looking after Wrexham. Right. But that's another story. But I think you're right. We are spending in the right way. I think there's different ways. I think they've gone down a different route. But this isn't a Wrexham podcast; it's a county podcast.
No, definitely.
But yeah, no, cheers for that. Good insight. And one last thing to mention then. Score prediction. What are you going to go for on Saturday?
I'm going to root for my team 2-1. I think you're going to score first.
Good shout. I wouldn't expect anything other than an opposition podcaster to come on and not root for their team. So that's completely fair enough. I actively encourage it, in fact. So I go on to others and do the same. Good stuff, Brad. Thank you so much for coming on for this opposition review. Good luck after Saturday. I've got a feeling there's going to be a late charge for the playoffs with Blackpool. You've got a wily old manager there, and if you can get the best out of the players that he's got, I can see you notching a few. Hopefully after Saturday, though.
Hopefully I'm wrong. I like it when I'm wrong. I'm always happy to take criticism, believe me. But no, and good luck after Saturday as well. It is honestly a breath of fresh air. When you look at the playoffs, it's the same teams. It's the same. You go up, you go down. Like for League One, it's your Barnsleys, it's your Rotherhams. It's actually really nice to see that you're going for it as well, and it's absolutely a breath of fresh air. So if we don't get a chance to get in the playoffs, then I'll certainly be rooting for you guys, definitely. If we are in the playoffs, then you know my answer.
Yeah. I know the agreement. Nice one. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries, Russ. Anytime.